Hey everyone, how are you? I'm going live now. Um, Bear with me. I'm going live first here in my YouTube channel so I can bring you guys this information. I'm just trying to make sure I have my angles right so you guys can see me. So thank you for tuning in, and let me just have my group come in. Hey everyone in Facebook world, and I'm streaming from my YouTube channel. So I hope everyone is doing really well. I won't keep you guys tonight. I'm just gonna tag a couple of people that I know uh, in the group just to get a couple of tags going. If you get this tag and you don't have time to log in, feel free to not worry about it. But I'm just making sure I get some people in the group. And, oh, okay. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. I won't keep you long. Um, just so you guys know, I posted in my group, I have my new email, my website. So a lot of you guys was having trouble in the email receiving the inquiry letters. So if you're new to the group and you're not aware that me and my daughter was working to get out free just inquiry letters that you can use going forward, feel free, go to my website, enter in your email address, and you should get an instant download. Thank you, everyone. How are you guys tonight? I thank you for taking the time to come in to watch the information. I really value your time. If you are guys up above, I have my camera going for my group over here in YouTube land. Make sure if you're watching me via YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel. And everybody who's following me in Facebook, feel free. You can look at prior content if you missed it. I usually try to transfer it over to my YouTube channel. So if you can, while you're coming in, just let me know where you guys are coming in from and what part of the country are you from. Some of my people on the East Coast don't understand why I start at 9, but I talked to a lot of people, even a lady that was yesterday I talked to. She's in Wisconsin. Some people is out in Minnesota. So for everybody on the West Coast, it's probably like 6 o'clock for them. So I'm trying to give them an opportunity. If you guys got Q&A, I got Houston, Texas over here in my YouTube channel. So thank you for tuning in. And I just want to give you guys some information. So I see somebody just logged in from the West Coast right there. Jasmine, she's from Nevada. So that's what I'm trying to stagger it out so I can make sure that if you have any questions, you can come and answer it in real time. So let me jump right into it. What I'm going to discuss tonight, a lot of people are dealing with collections. So this particular strategy that I'm going over, what I'm going to do coming really soon in a couple of days on my website, I'm going to give out letters and packages because just to bring understanding to everyone, because I don't want them to mix strategies. And what I had going on, I have some people that really just listen to the information, but it's not that I'm trying to really sell you the book, but what it is, a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about, I glance over because you only got so much time that I'm trying to give you the information on what you need to do to resolve your situation. So I might mention a strategy, but I'm assuming people are buying the material, buying the book, because if you don't have like fundamentals of what I'm trying to tell you when it comes to collections, when it comes to how to handle these situations. This is what's going to happen. When I'm dealing with collections in particular, as I always tell you guys, a lot of people's strategies is for you to send rounds and rounds of letters to the bureau. The problem with dealing with the bureau is what you have called the Oscar system. So I have a lot of people who will say to me, look, how should I send this letter to the collection agency? Should I write it by hand? And the reason why they're saying that, because they're consuming information. When you are dealing with the bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, they have a system called the Oscar system. And technically, credit repair companies do not have a legal right to represent you to send letters to the bureaus for you. So what Oscar do is try to weed out templates. So the reason why you're handwriting it, if it's seen a template that was used prior, because a lot of credit repair companies will give people template letters. The system is designed to kick it out, and it will send a response, a fibrous correspondent, and it'll send it back to you. Because what it's basically saying, this is a credit repair company that's reaching out to us, and they're kicking it out. So the whole thing, understand the bureaus is a billion-dollar industry. So you're a formality to them. They do not want to respond to you. They do not want to delete this information off your credit report, because like I tell you guys, the poverty industry is a big industry. That means if they can keep you with bad credit, a bad credit score, they can charge you more interest. So a lot of banks, a lot of lenders purchase information for the bureaus at a higher price for bad credit profiles. Okay, so that's why I want you guys not to really get caught up on a credit score, on a particular profile that they're looking for, so they can charge you more interest. So when it comes down to the bureaus, your problem when you dispute that way, you're not talking to a real person. You're talking to a machine. So a lot of techniques that you're hearing from credit repair system, credit people, they're trying to get you to bypass the machine, to talk to a human being. And that's why they tell you to write it by hand. My stand on it, when you are dealing with a collection issue, don't go to the bureaus. Bypass that. Go directly to the source. You don't have to do little parlor tricks to talk to a human being. You can get into contact with a human being. And like I said, instead of doing rounds and rounds of letters, now you're dealing with humans, human contacts that can read your letter. You're dealing with actual people with thoughts. So when you get your letter in their hands and you're going back and forth corresponding with humans, you have an avenue. Okay? So what my strategies are trying to teach you is the basic fundamentals. The reason why the collection agencies are doing what they're doing to you, the credit bureaus are doing what they're doing to you, the banks are doing what they're doing to you, because they have one thing that you don't have. And that one thing is leverage. Period. They have actual leverage, which you don't have. What I'm trying to teach you is how to create leverage. Okay? because you're really rendered powerless. They're reporting negative items on your credit report, stopping you from getting a house. They know it stops you from getting an apartment, stop you from getting a car, access to funds, access to jobs. They totally know this. So what they're doing is really credit terrorism. They're taking the leverage that they have and they are forcing you to participate in their system, to bow down to their will. Okay, so if you don't understand that fundamentally, okay, if you don't understand anything that I'm teaching you, what I'm really teaching you, how to get leverage. So now what I'm saying, my techniques is how you turn the tables. Okay, you're putting yourself on an equal playing field. So when it comes down, I'm going to start giving you guys letters, packages to deal with certain situations. But this technique I'm going to talk about tonight, I'm not going to put that in the package. You must buy the book, because what I have are people that, as Big Daddy Kane say, half stepping, and then they cause a mess and say, you said, when I didn't. You did not bother to buy the materials. You did not bother to read, to actually execute on what I'm telling you. I have people that have gotten to the table with attorneys, and when I'm saying table is speaking and on the verge of having it deleted because they did not execute correctly. They missed a step because they did not get the materials, they did not read. And you have to read everything. You know, you have to read your letters that you're even getting back. You have to read, even if you're sending letters to the bureau, you got to read their responses. Anything in this life, you must read. You got to read whatever you are signing. So even with myself, I have shared with people on a private note, show them. I showed you guys just how I executed my technique. It's the same template back in 2007. I showed you my credit report. I showed you what was the end results, me being paid for what was reported on my credit report. So the thing is the same, but this is the difference. Now I'm reading the paperwork. I have 3 inquiries and 1 collection that is done within 45 days. Okay? But the key is this. I can't show you that. I show you my own ones because when I read what I was signing, I cannot disclose any part of that agreement with that company to you. So what I'm just giving you a warning, if you do close, get these things deleted when you're using these strategies, be careful, okay? You don't want to tie yourself or back yourself up to in a corner. You gotta read what you're signing. You have to read. I don't know. I just want to say that because I have people that contact me and the issue was they did not read what they signed. And I don't think I should have had to tell people you got to read before you sign something. But now I'm like, whoa, maybe I got to tell people they need to read before they sign. So please take this as a disclaimer. Read. Read. Dr. King, a lot of people, my black people, have died, so you have the right to read, okay? You're not going to be lynched no more. You're not going to be whipped no more if you just read, okay? So just make sure that you read, okay? So I just got to say that. You have to read what you're signing. You have to read. If you're going to use this technique, read my book thoroughly so you understand what I'm about to teach you. And this is going to teach you leverage, okay? So what we're going to discuss is satisfactory in accordance agreements. If you have a collection company, you might send out initially, and this is what I always say. Number one, before you send out your debt validation letter, which is always your foundation, let me repeat, because this is the system, and I'm going to use this especially for credit cards. When you receive that credit card in the mail, okay, you initially perform an application, okay, and they give you an introductory rate, 0%, whatever it says, and it will have terms and conditions for you to qualify that. So first thing, you fill out an application. You're supposed to sign that application. So keep that in mind. Application. Sign the application. Then you get accepted. Now you receive the card. The card comes to you in the mail with the form. On that form, you're supposed to sign that form and send it back to the company, which is stating that you agree with the terms, the conditions, and the interest rate. Okay. Now, we all know, because we live in this technology age, a lot of this stuff is performed online. So note to self, even the applications are majority being performed online. If you are signing an application in a store, they only keep those applications for 90 days. They don't have evidence. They don't keep that information that long, for about 90 days, which is 3 months for the initial application. Now, you have this card. You're using this card. Something happened. You lose your job. You're on unemployment, so you're not able to pay for the card. Okay. You pay, you're not able to pay for the card. And so what happens, this account sits usually for a year. And when it comes to that company fiscal year, they simply can no longer wait for you to pay this account. Now, in the process, you paid interest, you know, they have made money off of you. So keep that in mind, because a lot of people's problems, they feel guilty. I owe it. But this is how the system works. When you do not pay, they charge off the debt. You'll see it report on your credit report. Charge off. What that means is this is their fiscal year. They cannot recoup on that debt, so they report it to the IRS. Okay? When they report it to the IRS, this account, we lost $2,000 on this account. The IRS kindly say, no problem. What we're going to do is give you a tax credit of that exact $2,000. Now, they are totally indemnified. They didn't lose a dime because the IRS gave them a tax credit, the original creditor. So now they can no longer pursue you for the debt, because if you now come and pay them $2,000, they have actually made $4,000. They would have problems with the IRS. The original creditor is aware of this. See, the problem is you guys are in the dark. They're totally aware of this. So what they do is take not only your little lonely debt, but all other people's debts and put it in a package, a portfolio, and they sell it to collection agencies who buy it as an asset. Because what they're going to do is come and extort you out of money, terrorize you. I mean, there's no other way I can put it. Terrorize you, boogity boo. You owe me money. But here's the problem. The problem, especially when it comes down to credit card debts. Any contract that you bind, initially, you have to agree, and that company has to agree to the terms and conditions. People that own a house understand this clearly. When you sit down to buy a house, you sign your life away, because what you're giving permission to the banks is to sell or reassign that debt. Okay? So they just can't even do what they want. You have to read your original closing papers in order to see what's in it. So don't fret. Even if you have a repossession, you still need to read your initial papers that you signed, the initial contract. But with credit cards, you don't have a contract, because unless you are one of those rare cases that you actually sign that, most people don't know that you're supposed to sign it and send it back. That's why I know you're probably a rare case. Unless you're somebody older who come from a generation where there was not technology, they're probably aware that you were supposed to sign that and send it back. But probably if you're in your 30s, 40s, you do not know you were supposed to sign that and send it back. So you didn't. So what happens is, now this company buys the debt, allegedly, and I'm going to say allegedly, buys this debt. But here's the problem. You did not agree at the initial binding of this contract with the initial creditor that debt can be sold. They did not have your permission. So if you're not aware of this fundamental base, you're going to be fooled when you talk to these attorneys. I'm trying to simplify it as best as possible. If you don't understand that principle, that because a debt is owed does not mean that any person can collect on that debt. We all have debts, but because a debt is owed, it does not give you the entitlement to collect on the debt. So they have to show proof. The proof lies into the original contract, which they don't have one. The proof lies in the original application. They have destroyed that. If they don't have an ink signature, if it was done online, who say it was you? Boom. Who says that inquiry was moi? Okay? Get you a good monitoring system. I tell you guys, spend a little money. If you got Experian, they'll show you, hey, your email account was on the dark web. Well, what do you know? The dark web created a credit card account on me. Not mine. Moving on. You see what I'm saying? It's called Reasonable Doubt. Jay-Z made a whole album about it. Reasonable Doubt. That's it. That ain't me. Say to Shaggy, wasn't me. Wasn't me. You have to prove it. So the burden of proof is on them to prove it. So this is what happens. They contact you. You feel guilty. Oh, I know I owe this. And they're playing on that. So when they call you, you begin to bind a verbal contract with them. Well, I can pay you. There you go. Now they have you. Because when you agree to pay them, now all my married people understand you got a verbal contract. That I do, that you said in front of your pastor. To get out of that contract, you got to go through legal paperwork. Same thing with you. Okay? If you get to singing like a canary on that phone, now you got yourself a contract. So, like I tell people, hey, try this. Tell them, I am more than willing to talk to you, but not on a recorded line. Just disconnect the record. Just turn the recorder. I can't talk to you. And they're going to hang up. You know why they know that? Because they know they don't have a leg to stand on. Only thing that they have to stand on is your ignorance and your emotions. That's it. Your omission. And I'm amazed how people would admit to things that ain't even true. Okay? Kenneth Hagin, what he used to say, Mom, was, They'll have tears in their eyes, well up over a lie. People will cry over like, oh Lord, and you're all emotional, and it ain't even true. You have been released. It has been jubilee for you. Okay, you are no longer in bondage because the IRS done freed you. Okay, but you just don't understand how to get released. So this is what it is. They begin to report these items on you, and that is their leverage. Without them reporting this against you, tearing down your name, they wouldn't have any leverage to make you pay them. So now this is what you have going on. Now, occasionally what would happen, you will send them, because you heard my information, and say, hey, I'm going to send a debt validation letter. You're right. And people are just so happy. Yeah. So they send that out. They send it out. They whoop-de-de-doo. Okay. Yeah, where's the contract? And this is what they're going to respond back to you with a bill sometime. A bill from the original creditor. And people get all riled up, like, oh, they sent me a bill and they showed me they bought it. Jeez, they bought it. Because it's a bill don't mean you owe it. I got a bill right now I can give to you. Don't mean that I can, you owe the bill. That don't make sense. They just proving who you owe the bill to. And if you will kindly call who that bill belonged to, they'll tell you we cannot take that money, see that collection agency, because they have already sold that debt. If it's $500, they might have sold that debt and purchased that debt on you for $2, $10. So what they got is a racket going on, racketeering, racket. But here you go. You're still suffering, okay? So this is how you're going to get out of this. You're going to create leverage. Sometime, because people have said, oh, they took it off. Okay, they took it off. Yeah, they'll take it off, and stop reporting against you because they see your letter. And like I said, unlike with the bureaus, you're talking to humans now. Okay, and if you have followed my information, what do I always say? Rule number 1, before you send out that letter, research that company, find out who is the president, managers, whoever in charge, and you make that letter addressed to them. But usually they're probably going to ignore it. Okay. And they'll send you a bill. Now, what you can kindly do is put a response, because a debt is old, does not give you legal right to collect the debt. But a lot of them are stubborn. Oh, well, we bought the debt. Well, show me, as they said, show me the money. Show me the original contract. And they can't get it for you. Okay? Because they don't have it. Because it does not exist. If it's a credit card, it does not exist. They can't give you something that does not exist. As I say, you can't get water from a rock unless you're Moses. And he's gone to be with the Lord. So they're not creating a contract. So it's very important. All your letters and your correspondence, you do not sign. Because they can take your signature and superimpose it on something else. Okay, so that's why I always tell you, if you read my book, kindly not to sign anything, not to them. So here you go. You're stuck in that situation. Occasionally they'll come off. They'll say, ooh, okay, this person knows something. They'll stop reporting it. And then you'll see that they start reporting it in your original, the original creditor's name. So you have these two scenarios. So you might have one, the collection agency is reporting it. So let's start there on how you would use this S and A to gain leverage, okay? Because they have leverage. They're reporting against you. You have none. So this is how we create leverage. So say the collection company have a debt. And because people maybe not see it the way I am, you're new at this, so you're not in full knowledge. I want to call it reveal revelation. Because revelation is basically something that's there that you can't see. So that's it. And if you really grasp what the law of contracts is and really understand, hey, there's no contract. I don't owe you anything. If you don't really come to that revelation, you might not have the confidence to really handle it the way I do, because I'm ready to go to war. You know, so say if this bill is over $2,000 and you really don't have the confidence, what you can do is construct what we call a satisfactory and accordance agreement. So this means to satisfy the debt according to this agreement. So what you would do is, and I have samples of it in my book, A Quick Guide on How to Boost Your Credit and Stop Collections. So basically, you might say, to whom it may concern, this letter is to notify you of a satisfactory and accordance agreement. And usually by state law, you should give them a notification of this agreement, because not only are you going to use this agreement, you use it with a technique called a restrictive check endorsement. So that's why you need to notify them that you are constructing a satisfactory and accordance agreement, which saying, to whom it may concern, I am sending in 15 days a restrictive check endorsement. And I am settling the debt. Now, I'm just paraphrasing, okay? I'm settling the debt, and you are reporting the debt, and let's say for $2,000, but I am selling it for $450, okay? And if you accept this payment, these are my terms and conditions that you would report it as paid as agreed. If you can get that off. Paid as agreed, why that is good, because some people don't have long credit history. So sometimes you don't want to delete an account. You want to keep positive history on, because credit history makes up 35% of your credit score. And length of credit is 10 to 15% of your credit score. So if you can keep that on, that would affect your profile and inadvertently increase your credit score. Because like I said, you guys, it's not about credit score all the time. It's about your credit profile. If you know how to do and manipulate your credit profile, then you'll get a better credit score. So you can say paid as agreed. That is the highest mark that you can have on your credit. Or you can say to delete this trade line, okay? Either or, but paid as agreed is the best option. So you report this account paid as agreed within 30 days, because it usually takes them 30 days for each credit bureau to update their credit report. In 30 days, soon as you receive this payment, if you do not agree to this terms and conditions, please write to me in writing that you disagree. If not, I assume that you agree to these terms and conditions. So I just surmise what you would around about put. So you would send that letter to that collection agency. Now what I would do is send it to a P.O. box that really are not getting human interaction. Certified mail. Because whoever go to that P.O. box does not read every letter that comes to them. If you're sending it to a front desk of that office, they're more likely to really open it. But when you send it to their P.O. box, that's where they send their payments. So it kind of go under the radar. Then 15 days, 30 days, do your due diligence, research your state, because different states have different requirements for restricted check endorsements. So you have to do that yourself. You send that letter, and now you have constructed your restrictive check endorsement. So what you're going to do, underneath the signature line, you're going to put those terms and conditions under that line. The dollar amount, the time period that they're supposed to update your credit report, you have to put under that, all of that under the signature line. And you will notify them once again, the same language that you sent the original letter, letting them know that this payment is this much. It is for a restrictive check endorsement. And if you accept this payment, you agree to do this. Okay. And update my credit report in 30 days as paid as agreed. And if you do not agree with this, do not cash this check. But guess what? They're going to sign and cash that check. So now what you have, if they do not update that account as it should, you now have leverage to legally hold accountable the management because they violated your new agreement. And you can turn around and sue them. So that's how you create leverage. Now you might have, and that's for people who don't want to stand, don't want to take the chance of dealing with these companies because it's a large amount and they're afraid of this large amount. But along with that, make sure you do your due diligence, find out what your statute of limitations is. You should only use that technique, okay? Review your statute of limitations. If it's past that statute of limitations and in your state, I would not use this technique because if you pay them, you can bait yourself. But if you're afraid that you're being sued, there's a lawsuit. This is an excellent way to go around that way because a lot of people are facing lawsuits. They're afraid they're going to sue me. This is a good technique, and now you have them. You have turned the tables because it's a larger amount. Now, you have the scenario. Sometimes what they'll do, large or small amounts, they'll have the original creditor to start reporting that, but they really own the debt. They'll have the original creditor. Now they'll come off the credit report and have them to simply report it in the original creditor's name. When you have that situation, the original creditor have the right, because you did get goods and service for them, to report this as a bad debt. So it's like, they tried to one-up you. But what you would do, this time, do the same thing that I told you, but instead of sending the letter to notify of the satisfactory and accordance agreement to the collection company, you notify the original creditor. You send that letter to them with the same thing. If you do not reply in writing in the next 15 or 30 days, whatever you put according to your state rules, then I'm sending this payment with these terms and conditions with a restrictive check endorsement. Now, if you call them, they will simply tell you, we cannot take that payment. You have to pay the collection company. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to send this payment to the collection company, who are very greedy, and they're going to want this check cash. Because this is the thing. They bought this debt from the original creditor, and they're going to demand that the original creditor give them payment. But this is the key. You do not make that check out to that collection company. You make the check out to the original creditor. So when the collection company get the payment, they're going to force that original creditor to deposit that check. And when they do, you already wrote out your terms and conditions, and now somebody over there is responsible if this don't come off my credit report. So this is what you do with the S&A and accordance agreement. You create leverage. And your leverage is all for your pursuit to legally sue people, to have a right to sue people. Now, I will say this. if you scared to sue somebody, that's where your power is at. You don't have to go through the federal. Everybody yell the federal. You can sue through your local small claims court. But what you have to do is learn your state rules. In the states that I abide in, my state that I abide in, I understand the state rules. I understand if I'm filing a suit in New Jersey, small claims court goes up to $15,000. So I can sue you up to that much amount, and guess what? The process is very quick. I am going to see you in court within 35 days. And we'll be talking to the judge. This works great when your collection company is out of state, where a majority of them are. But the key to all of this is naming people. Naming names. You have to name names and sue directly managers. Actual names plus the company. If you do not do that, you have no leverage. Because this is the thing. When a judgment is processed, that's going to report as a public record. I had a president tell me when I did that, what did I do to you? I want to laugh about that. What did I do to you? I said, sir, I reviewed all of my phone calls. That's what he said. He reviewed all my phone calls. I said, well, you saw when I was talking to you, talking to your employees, that I asked them why are they reporting this. They don't have a contract. They don't have an original application, and they do not have a legal right to sue. A legal right to pursue the debt. And they refuse to remove it. Oh, why you ain't go through the bureaus? Why should I have to? And I did notify them online, and nobody ain't removed nothing. So I had to be pushed to this. But he thought it was such an injustice. Because guess what? Leverage. And guess what? It made me feel good. Because guess what? Him and everybody in that office sleep well every night when they doing that to you. So guess what I did that night? I slept well, and while I was on my pillow, I even giggled a little. I did. I giggled a little. And he's going to tell me, you seen that what are you, a paralegal? I said, no. I'm just a person that knows the law of contracts. And that's all you have to be, y'all. You just got to understand the law of contracts. I talked to 3 attorneys, and you know what they understood? I knew the law of contracts. They said, what are you, a paralegal? No, I'm nobody's hero. I'm just a woman that understands the law of contracts. Okay? And I understand leverage. That's it. Point blank. Long as you don't make your lawsuit crazy, you got to understand business. It all boils down to business. They're out of state, 2 employees, 3 employees. I sued 7. I just wanted to shake up the culture in that office. Because, see, I'm dealing with human beings. I'm not dealing with Oscar. So when Becky Sue get that, you're being sued, girl. Whoo, that was such a conversation at the water cooler. I'm changing the culture of the office. So next time when somebody sends you a letter, especially when it's me, you will reconsider what you're doing. Because what I'm going to do, and like I told him, what you're going to have is a judgment. And I'm going to pursue it. You're going to pay me. So that's what you got to do. You got to use your leverage. You got to have a little moxie. And as, what his name was? What was his name? Danny Blubber said, and Color Purple, Suge got spunk. Suge have spunk. I'm going to talk my talk, and I sure will sue you. So that's what you got to learn, you guys. You got to learn how to use the court system. You got to learn how to use the system. And so this is what this technique do. It teaches you to use the court system. But you got to have some spunk. You can't be scared all the time. And I ain't never scared. Ever. So you got to have a little faith. You got to know the system. So the way you're going to get some faith and you're going to see this work, you got to work it. So a lot of people want magical letters, but the magic is in the process. That's what it is. It's in the process. In the process. Anybody that see Game of Zones that on the Bleacher Report and what they have Joel Embiid would say, he called himself the process. Trust the process. Trust the process. You have to work the process. I can rub your back. I can't tell you to, I don't have a wand. And that's what people want me to do. Have a wand. Can you, can you, no, that don't work. Ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work unless you work it. And I can't do it for you. You got to do this for yourself. Okay? So there's some things mother can't do for you. You got to do it for yourself. And it can be done. Like with my mother. Somebody one time punched me in my stomach. I said, So I started crying. She said, what's wrong with you? I said, the girl punched me in my stomach. Did you hit her back? I said, no. She said, you better hit her back. That's what y'all doing. Y'all crying to me. They hit you, you better hit them back. Because guess what? My mama told me, I can't do this for you. You got to do it for yourself. Baby, I can't do this for you. Y'all got to learn how to do it for yourself. So this is the thing. You have to learn how to use these techniques. You have to not be scared to sue these people. If you are not willing to sue, you don't have anything. Nothing. As Wendy Houston said, I have nothing, nothing, nothing. That's what you're going to have because you have no leverage. So if you will learn these processes, instead of listening to all the noise, all the credit repair companies do that, like I told you guys, if a rumor starts, you don't go and address the person who is telling you the rumor and say, you stop that. No, you go see the person that started and say, hold up, what you say? What did you say? You take that back. And guess what? They're going to correct it. And so the collection agencies, the people that report it, can remove it faster than anybody can remove it. They just withdraw the reporting. And you can have that done within 30 days if you learn how to address who started the rumor. And then you can move on with your life. So that is the satisfactory and accordance agreement. That is the point. That is the point of all my techniques. Like I used the analogy before. Hey, it's not about hard work. Y'all want to just, because it sounds easy to send these letters to these bureaus. Like chopping down a tree. Chopping down a tree is hard work if you're using a hammer. But if you be a little bit diligent about the situation, you'll find the best way is to use a chainsaw. So they're giving you the hammer to chop down the tree. I'm giving you the chainsaw. There you go. And you can move on. So this is one of the techniques. Satisfactory and accordance agreement. But like I said, you must read. You must understand. You must grasp these concepts. So as you begin to use these strategies, my suggestion, start with your smallest ones first. Start with a small lawsuit first so you can get some confidence, okay? And you say, ooh, that did work. Woo, that did, and then you go up to the bigger things, okay? So I hope that was clear. I hope I didn't ramble. Do anybody have any questions about what I just went over or any questions in general? Anyone? Anybody? Let me just check the chat. Anyone up here in YouTube land? No questions? Anybody else? I'm looking through your comments. Yes. Okay. What King and Queens TV? What's your question? I see I'm taking a question here on YouTube. What question do you have? No. If not, you can ask me offline if you don't want to put your business out in the street. Faith, can you see any questions? No? Anybody in Facebook? My YouTube person, you got a question? But if y'all need to know anything else, it said, would that work with medical bills? Yes, it will. I actually have in my book, it's even with medical bills, it is you can even leverage actually the HIPAA laws. But I can't get into that tonight, but it will work even for medical bills. But I suggest to read the book on the section where I talk about medical bills and the hospitals or your medical provider really is not supposed to be sharing your private medical information with an outside person without your permission. So you can even leverage in those cases HIPAA laws, because that's a violation for them to know your procedure. And trust me, if it's radiology, whatever your procedure, it details it a lot of time in the name of what you owe. So I suggest get my book and read on that section on what you have with the HIPAA. That's in my quick guide on how to boost your credit and stop collection. So it's even in greater detail when it comes down to medical bills. But you can use this strategy even with medical bills. It works the same way. Let me address, I saw, and give me 1 second. Top chat. Okay. Should I pay them off? I'm trying to waive the fees for the last 6 months. Hold on. I'm reading. I'm sorry. I can listen to you. Okay. I got it. I'm late in the collections with a credit card. Okay. Now, if you're late with a collection and it's a credit card, should I pay them off? No. I made a video about paid collections. You want to be very careful. If you're paying a collection, if you do not have something in writing where you are paying for deletion, you can actually make your situation worse than what it is. Because when it comes down to collections, say that debt is a year old. Initially, when a collection hits your credit report, it caused your credit report to have the biggest dip in your credit score. So you might see your score initially go down to about 50, maybe possibly 175 points, depending on how high your score is already at. You know, as they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. The bigger your credit score is, the harder to hit any negative item come against your credit. So you might see a huge dip. But as that goes on with time, it lessens the effect, especially when you're dealing with FICA, the Fair Isaac system. So you have, and I'm not talking about your Credit Karma. Y'all got to know it's a different. That is a Vantage score system. That is not what lenders use. They use the FICA scoring system. So it's like the metric math system and the imperial. Two different types of systems. So with FICA, 12 months, 24 months, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, it lessens the effect on your credit report. So if you turn around and pay that collection, it's going to make your situation worse, because now it's going to come on as a paid collection. So it's going to immediately dip your score again because you paid the collection. And then now it's twofold. If it was already a year old, you only had 6 years and it's 6 years, it's 7.5 years. So 6 years and 6 months before that would go off. But any credit reporting goes off the last date of activity. If you paid that collection, now you're backing up all the way to 7.5 years for that to report on your credit report. And like I said, These companies, the way they work, they're working with the credit bureaus. They are required to report a certain amount of names. I believe it's like up to 1,500 to 2,000 names per month to even have access to reporting, to be able to have that leverage to report off of you. So they are going to report it. If you do not get something in writing saying that they are going to delete that, or they are going to report it as paid as agreed. So if you pay that without taking those steps of putting something in writing, and actually if they send you something in writing to read it thoroughly, then you might actually worsen your situation than curing your situation. So this is why I use or say, if you're going to pay, either use the satisfactory in accordance agreement and send a restrictive check endorsement, since you want to pay it anyway. Why don't you just take the steps to do this, and you will just have leverage. So that's what it is. If you do decide to go that route and they say they're going to delete it, or they say they're going to do it, make sure that they put something in writing. Can I get my student loans written off? Now, student loans is a whole nother animal. Unfortunately, student loans, your Congress have really made student loan the new slavery, okay? That student loans, you cannot file for bankruptcy unless you're disabled. You can get a waiver and being in certain industries, but you can get certain relief depending on your personal situation. If they're in default, you can do student loan rehabilitation, and they go off of your income, your disposable income, so not even gross. So we might have to talk off camera with that. I also have a book, a quick guide on how to get student loan relief and improve your credit score, if you want to find out different tips, different ways that you can handle student loan debt. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for asking your question. Can you see the rest? If not, I'll go through them. Okay. Why does it take 2 years for inquiries to come on? That's just the time frame. You know, it's almost like why certain debts can report for 10 years to 7 years. That's just a time frame. But you can dispute inquiries off. I give a free inquiry letter that you can send directly to the company that reports it. So it's the same thing, like I say, with collections. Instead of going through the bureaus, target the exact strategy. You ask them to prove permissible purpose. So permissible purpose, for anybody to access your credit file, you have to give your written permission. So you would demand that they give you the application, because that's where you gave them access. Now, you cannot dispute inquiries that with a credit line that you actually have. My mortgage company, pull my credit report. Your credit card company, pull your credit report. So if you have actual trade lines, don't try to dispute that, because they might delete the whole trade line. But, you know, they do fall off in 2 years, but you don't have to actually sit there and wait for that. If they cannot produce the proof that you gave them actual permissible purpose to access your credit file, you can try to deal with that and get that deleted. Does this apply? Okay, I already answered that. Just order. Thank you so much, Felicia. I appreciate that. Like the way the lab works. Okay. If you wind up having to sue the collection company, what are you? Oh, okay. As you guys, if you're in my group, my Facebook group, I posted states with defamation of character. So what you're saying, that they are lying on you, period. I don't care, even if it's a company that says you owe a debt. Defamation of character is when you are reporting something against someone that is defaming their character. So let's say, for instance, my mother owes me $25. And I go around telling people, Barbara ain't paying me $500, right? I'm lying on her. I'm defaming her character. So say if she goes to one of you guys that heard that lie, because that's what it is a lie, and you say, hey, I ain't lending you no money. Sherry already told me you don't pay. You ain't pay her $500 back. Then I just tore down her character. So now, if you might have been aware that it was just $25, you might have lent her the money, because $25 is way different than $500. So this is defamation of character. They're saying that you owed them a debt. I never got any goods and services from you, and you have no actual proof that I even owe you this debt, because you won't produce the original contract, because if it's a credit card company, there ain't one, and I ain't signed nothing. So you actually lied on me, and I will win this case in these states that have defamation of character, and usually every state do. You lied on me, so I want my money. And that's what you do. I'm suing you for damages. I applied for credit over here, and they said no, because I owed you money. So what you do is kindly, all those, rejection letters that you got, take them all, gather them all up, gather their response, and there's my case. Boom. ABC Linden said no, because they said, you said I owed you a debt. Well, no, that's not true. Ooh, here's my credit report. That's where it said, you're reporting I owe you a debt, and you have no proof I owe you a debt. So you lied on me. Pay me. And you would get paid. But guess what? I haven't had one time even want to come to court, because they know they lying on you, and they know it's true. So that's what you would sue for. Defamation of character, because you're lying on me. So that's your standing. If your state don't have defamation, and don't just take somebody told me, they don't. Take the time, y'all. It's a Google. I have so many people, so-and-so told me. Why you calling me like I got Esquire behind my name? And even if I did, I'm not licensed in your state. You can figure that out for yourself. Put on your big boy pants and your big girl panties, and just take them little fingers that you do all day and Google, okay? Google. So you can Google yourself and find this out. You got to do your own due diligence, because I have people all the time. Well, they said, what? You calling me? And you live in Alaska? What? And they said, but you didn't bother to research it. Research it out. If defamation is not there, which I doubt, I posted a list where if somebody defaming your character, there are 24 states that's a criminal charge. And I think Alabama is one of them. And so you can actually bring criminal. So civil is for your damages to get paid. But criminal is somebody can get locked up. They won't let you out. Lock you up, okay? So it could be a criminal defense against that person, against these CEOs. So what that do is take you doing your research, okay? So like I tell people, you have to research your own state laws, because you will go to an attorney and they will lie to you if you don't know. You got to know some information for yourself, as I always tell y'all, so you know who to hire. You know who talking right. You ain't talking right. I ain't hiring you. You ain't talking right. I ain't giving you my money. You have to have some knowledge. Even if you're not doing the work yourself, even if you're looking to get a credit repair company, you need to find somebody, or you need to know something yourself, so you know you're hiring the right people. So take some time and you have to, gain some knowledge for yourself, okay? Because like I said, and this is a slogan, if you're not willing to fight for your credit, if you're not willing to fight for your future, please don't expect somebody else to. Don't expect nobody else to care. Because if you don't care enough, why should they? If it don't matter to you where you live or what kind of funds you to have access to, why should they care? Why should somebody care if it doesn't mean that much to you? So whatever that you care about, you will fight for. There are some people really care about having new Jordans or an iPhone. They'll sleep outside all night because they care about that. But when it comes to their credit or to buy a book and read and invest some money for their future, they don't want to do that. They can't figure it out. But they could figure out where to buy them Jordans. They could figure out where to buy that Gucci bag. They could figure out how to do a lot of things which they want to. So a lot of us got to just look inside and see what we really want to do. Because I'm not the back rubbing type. I ain't going to rub your back. I'm going to tell you and hold you accountable. What do you want? What do you want? If you really want something, you're going to work towards that. Because most people, majority, all of us are moving towards subconsciously our most dominating thought. So if you're moving towards a couch to watch Love and Hip Hop, that's where you at. But if you're moving towards a book to figure out, look, I got to make my situation better. I don't know about this. I can't live like, child, I can't live like this. That's what I do in my room. I can't live like this. Something got to give. So I'm going to do a little prayer and I'm going to do a little research, and God meet me in the middle. Who you said, ask and it shall be given, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be open. And the acronym is still ask. So hold up. I got to ask some questions and get to the bottom of it. That's what you got to do. So I hope that's helpful, y'all. Y'all just do some research. That ain't you, because you Miss Grant, you be doing your research. She's really working hers. I tell you that much. I agree. Okay, Kings and Queen TV. Thank you so much. I agree with that. God give us all two things the same. We all got two things the same. And that's 24 hours, 7 days a week. What you do with your time is your business. Everybody is equal on that field. So you just got to make better use of your time. If you want the letter, thank you, Miss Jackson. I, on my Facebook page, just gave you my email address on my page. Go to the email. Not email. What I'm saying, email. Website. I'm sorry. Go to my website. And what you can do is just enter in your email and you will get full access to the inquiry letter. I'm going to soon have packages for medical public records. I'm going to do that and I'm going to give an instruction, but I will put a disclaimer. I'm not an attorney, so any of this information is for educational purposes only because, look, people are trying. So let me just throw that out there and y'all research it and follow that, okay? And if you got the books, I see, thank you, Miss Jackson. You said you purchased my book. So if you have the books, this satisfactory and accordance agreement, along with the example of the restrictive check endorsement, is in my quick guide on how to boost your credit and stop collections. So like I said, if you want to implement this tactic or you have any issues with collections, that's the book to get, okay? And anybody that have any updates on your situation, if you can kindly just post it in the group, we can all learn from each other. Can I still have these inquiries removed? Oh, yes. If Patricia said, can she have it removed if they got to verify it. Do they got your signature? Probably don't. Is it over 90 days old? Probably yeah. I'll challenge it. Send out the letter. That's what I do. And I showed you one of mine. They just took it right off. And what they did, I think it was Indigo Credit. They just took it off, and they notified within, I think it only took them 17 days. They notified TransUnion to remove it off my credit report. So like I told you guys, if you contact them, they can do it way faster than you going through the bureaus. So if you go to the source and demand proof, they can remove it. Okay? Defamation. Okay, that's in my notes. Okay, great. Yeah, defamation of character. And like I said, a lot of credit repair people, and when they talking about suing, they talking about on a federal level. Federal level, the fees, the process is much lengthier and expensive, a little more expensive usually than your local court system. Because understand, even if they're out of state, if they're doing business in your state with you personally, they have to abide by these rules. They have to abide by your local laws. So just remember that. So that's what the attorney, he told me. He was in New York, and oh, you should, if you're saying it's not you, you should go by the federal. Got to be quicker than that. No, sir. No. I'm starting with my state law. And when I get this judgment, then I'll let the federal know. And I'm doing you guys a favor because you would be fined violations. So thank me later. I'm doing you guys a favor. Really, you just doing yourself a favor. You ain't got time for all that foolishness. So that's what you do. And what time is it? Oh, it's 10:15. Oh, wow. We went over our time. I hope you guys, this information was helpful. I didn't mean to tie all you guys up on the East Coast. I'm 15 minutes over. If y'all have any other questions, you know you can hit me up via Messenger. You can, all you that logged in from YouTube, I appreciate y'all logging in. Feel free to comment. And as you know, I do reply. If you got any questions, post it in the group. I have a couple of people in the group that are really know their stuff, really understand their game, and they would reply to you. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have a blessed and wonderful evening. God bless. Let me shut down. All right. My Facebook people is out, and I thank you guys for my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Enjoy your night.